Welcome, my friends. Grab your hot tea, your coffee, hot or iced. I do not judge. And let's take a moment to set up for February, shall we? Now remember, it is still chill girl winter, and I am trying my absolute damnedest to keep any semblance of chill in my winter. You may be doing the same if you are paying attention to anything going on in the world outside of the confines of your own brain. So, let's take a moment. We don't have to rush. We don't have to hurry. We can take a breath. And let us reflect and prepare for what is ahead of us. Feel free to take that meaning however it is most useful to you. Now about February. This might be the simplest and most minimalist setup I have done in quite a while, which is actually rather refreshing. I did a lot of the prep work in my quarterly setup from my last journal video, and as you can see on the edges, I have put gold washi tape on the edge of the February cover page as well as the January cover page and my quarterly setup cover page. I like to trim the page edges of the month that I'm working in so that the only pages that actually stick out toward the edge of the journal itself are the ones that mark the passage of time, month by month by month. It makes it easy to find anything if I'm searching back through. So, let's take a little artistic liberty and set up this February cover page with a nice little mountain scene. And by artistic liberty, I mean we're basically just sticking in a print of a photograph of a beautiful wintry mountainscape, and then I am just simply freehanding some mountain range edges on the left page. I used a pencil to go in initially and kind of map out where I wanted the mountains to go, but then I just took my Papermate Inkjoy black pen and drew over the lines I liked the most, not really worrying about following anything in too specifically. And then, for the actual month title, I chose a metallic gold gel pen and happily covered up my singular, trusty, handy-dandy font. The only one that I draw. You know it, you love it. And I'm actually rather pleased. We love a shiny. We love a little reflective metallic moment. And this way, I can keep any of the black elements with the ink, specifically in the mountains. And then February can shine over them. Is it a metaphor? Or just a funky artistic choice? Who knows? Could be both. Could be neither. I would like to take this moment to once again encourage and remind you that you do not have to be an artist or consider yourself an artist or creative in any way in order to keep a journal or notebook, whether it be bullet or otherwise. I've considered myself to be an artist for most of my life, but artistry is a rather broad term. The majority of my artistry has been spent in theater, using my body and my voice on stage in live performance. Not so much with painting and drawing, though I have dabbled in those areas. So I don't consider myself to be some great sketcher or painter, yet I don't let that keep me from hastily drawing a few squiggly mountains and adding a little bit of random shading to try and make it look slightly more three-dimensional. So take this as an opportunity to allow yourself to get curious, to experiment. It doesn't have to be overly decorated. It can be simple. It can be as easy as pasting in a photograph of a beautiful scene and then just allowing yourself to draw a few stars, make a few random lines. Completely up to you. But don't let your lack of artistic talent, she says in quotation marks, deter you from enjoying making your journal a nice little workspace for yourself. Now, I just flipped back in the video to show you my quarterly setup where my February calendar already exists. Good job, past Emma. You do not have to reset up a calendar, which is very nice. And so now we're just setting up the pain tracker portion of my monthly intro pages. And I am showing you from the start this time. I purchased this pad of graph paper several years ago, and it is still going strong because I only use one piece of graph paper per month. So 100-something sheets of graph paper will last you a number of years if you're only using them as often as I am. So anytime I set up a new monthly pain chart, I am often referring to last month's chart to see what can change, what needs to stay the same, what has evolved through my experience of that month. So each one is usually just a little bit different, which is nice. It's a living document, as it were. And of course, as you see, I always have to have my "everything is on fire, yet I'm fine" meme on the side. Just a little comic to lighten the experience of filling out a tracker for how much daily pain you're in. And then, of course, in between the two comic panels, I have the Minkowski scale for chronic pain, just so that I can refer to it anytime I'm a little uncertain of which number I should put down for how bad my pain got that day. Was I solidly in the 6 territory? Did we venture into 7? Did it get up to 8? Etc. So here you can see me referring back to January's mostly filled out pain chart. And I'm deciding to change the top pain scale header slightly because I am genuinely never below a 6 these days. So I don't need to waste rows of empty boxes for the 0 through 5. So I'm just going to combine those into one. And then I draw my lines for my little categories going after that. The ones that I am focusing on how high, mid, or low a certain symptom was rather than just putting an X for whether or not it showed up in general. So I've been tracking my pain in this way since about 2019. I just realized how many years have passed since 2019, which all at once feels like it was just a month ago and somehow literal millennia ago, because of the time warp that the pandemic caused. So I have a lot of data for the way my body has been behaving and responding to treatments and procedures and medications and everything, and it's been a helpful tool to me, particularly with visiting my care teams and being able to literally show them on any given day, this is what's going on in my body, this is what's happening. And if you are familiar with chronic pain, chronic illness, brain fog is a huge, huge element that is pretty difficult to overcome. And when I say brain fog, I mean that it feels like quicksand has settled inside your skull and you're having to literally wade through this like foggy denseness simply to search for words or to recall memories, long-term or short-term. And it can make it really difficult when you are in a high-stress situation, such as sitting in a doctor's office finally after months of waiting for an appointment, and you've only got like 10 to 20 minutes with this person who is busy and is seeing 17 other people that day, and you need their help for whatever next step of your treatment you're after. And they can say like, okay, so how has it been? And your mind can just go blank, which is why I started doing this. I started tracking my pain so that when my mind goes blank, I can go, here you go, and just open my journal and hand it to them. And I've gotten interesting responses from medical professionals when I do this. Most of the time, they look at it and go, ooh, this is great. I really appreciate the ones who respond positively and who actually look at it and read some of it and go, okay, so I can see that you are constantly in high fatigue. I can see that the nerve lightening you're experiencing is never low. Most of the time it's mid to high, and on certain days where the fatigue is higher and your pain levels overall are higher, it correlates with the lightening itself being worse, etc., etc. Occasionally I've had a doctor or two, usually ones that I didn't enjoy talking to for various reasons, and I didn't see them for very long after that. Occasionally I've had them look at this and then like hand it right back to me as if it was useless. But that speaks to their character and their lack of empathy for their patients more than it speaks to me and whether or not keeping this is helpful, because it is. I've been doing it for 5 years because it is helpful. Anything that it helps you survive on a literal day-to-day basis is worth its weight in gold. Anything that acts as a tool to help you better advocate for yourself is absolutely helpful. And it's vital and it's important. So if this is something that helps you, wonderful. Do not let a jaded, emotionally inept doctor tell you otherwise. The disabled community is only one of many marginalized groups that are going to be facing unfair and unjust obstacles and barriers to a better quality of life in the next 4 years. So anything that allows you to better advocate for yourself is going to be a boon, in my opinion. And especially if you are keeping track of medical information for yourself, being able to do it in an analog way, meaning not using a digital app on your phone that could potentially be tracked or sold off, I would recommend that you do that. If you are someone who is paying attention to what's going on in your body and you are tracking that information, particularly if you are someone who menstruates or who has fear of pregnancy at any point, I would recommend that you do your tracking in an analog format. If you can, if you're able. Anyway, moving on to do a little review of my quarterly setup. So I've got my calendars over here. They are back at the beginning of the journal. You can see I have filled in and used pretty much all of January. I've got my templates so that I was able to do my like quarterly open, that I'm calling it, my quarterly openings which is where my thoughts and goals for the upcoming 3 months are. And then at the end of each month, I do like a little quarterly review. Not quarterly review, a monthly review. You get it. Words are hard. And then I'm able to keep my setups pretty minimal because I'm just doing a cover page and then my pain tracker. So I hope this was I don't know if encouraging is the right word. I hope this was period. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your friends. Take care of your family. If you're speaking to them. You never know in this day and age. But take time to breathe. Take time to reflect. Take time to prepare. Do a little research. Get involved in your community. Focus local. That's how we get global. You are loved, and the world is better with you in it. Bye, friends. See you in the next one.